Keep your ship in the sky with the power of puzzle solving in 39 Days to Mars. Is making tea as a team a good use of your time? We really liked the 39 Days to Mars art style, a detailed black and white steampunk aesthetic that looks like it was drawn on paper and stained over decades. The visuals are dynamic pen drawings, and the game feels like an interactive storybook that is being completed as you read. Some of the puzzles are visually messy, and can feel annoyingly cluttered, but the clutter is also cleverly embraced as a mechanic a few times. Overall, despite the simplicity, the game has a great aesthetic charm.
39 Days to Mars is a 2D puzzle game with some point-and-click adventure game sensibilities, in that some puzzles have multiple steps that require interaction between different parts of the environment, and the main characters have unique things to say about anything they can interact with. The bulk of the game is spent in the various rooms aboard the spaceship, and puzzles are fed to players in a linear fashion as parts of the ship break and require maintenance. Players are free to move throughout the ship, but beyond listening to short clips of dialogue, there's nothing to do except focus your attention on the current puzzle. For most puzzles, you are disembodied hands, interacting with objects to solve a given challenge. The puzzles typically test your coordination, your memory, or your patience for powering through imprecise controls. The best challenges have players working together to find a solution and execute a plan, but many of the puzzles rely on that classic tactic of trying every combination until you get the right one.
The controls are very simple, but they feel very loose, making it difficult to grab, rotate, or move objects comfortably. It's generally not very action-oriented, and we didn't usually feel rushed, but occasionally we faced challenges that were in fact on a timer, and these moments highlighted the issues with the controls too well. These relatively rare challenges added a small amount of stress to a mostly calm game. Despite our issues with the controls, there's a very consistent atmosphere and tone to the game that kept us interested the whole way through. Sure, the ship's about to explode, but we can't fix it on an empty stomach. We should make the perfect scone first. The characters keep a carefree, relaxed attitude in their frequent commentary, no matter the apparent seriousness of the situation, which makes the game a fun, relaxing experience overall.
"39 Days to Mars is one of the rare games made specifically for couch co-op, to the point that if you even attempt to play solo, the game will recommend that you play co-op instead. Both players have complete control over their characters, and neither player is prioritized. Players share the same screen, and although the usual tug-of-war is present in the hub, it's rarely an issue since most of the game is puzzles on a single unmoving screen. The game requires that both players interact in order to even start a puzzle, so there's no worry about one player going ahead and leaving another behind. Most of the puzzles require cooperation, usually splitting responsibilities between the players, in the form of each player being in control of one part of a device, or players needing to grip objects at the same time to put them in place.
One of the only downsides is that the need to coordinate exacerbates the issues with the controls. So something that should be simple, like rotating a puzzle piece, can take more time than you'd expect, with both players fighting the loose controls. The most difficult challenges are those that rely mostly on odd movement or positioning paired with the required coordination, where it's impossible for either player to take up slack and power through without help from the other. But overall, it's very refreshing to see another fun, mostly laid-back game that keeps both players invested in the action and rewards teamwork. The emphasis on independent puzzles makes the game great for short sessions, since any given task is likely to take no more than a few minutes. You play as a pair of space explorers in a retro sci-fi setting, taking a seemingly casual trip to Mars in a homemade spaceship that needs a lot of maintenance. The story is absurd and self-aware, and emphasizes a laid-back attitude that makes the game a relaxing experience. You shouldn't expect much intrigue or any major twists, but it's a fun, quirky motivation to progress through the puzzles. We didn't experience any bugs or glitches, but during transitions the game oftentimes freezed up for a bit, making us think it might crash. It also had a long initial load time, which could affect your ability to boot it up for a quick play session.
"39 Days to Mars is fun in almost every way. It has a great art style, a quirky story, and some interesting puzzles. Despite some occasionally frustrating controls, it's a very pleasant, usually low-stress experience. Although the limited replayability lessens the interest, the carefree attitude of the game makes us want to revisit it occasionally. If you're looking for a game to share over tea and scones, we'd give this one a soft recommend."
we just made things worse.